Good morning. Wow, you made it. We're halfway through. So welcome to day 8. This is, as I've been building it up a lot, so it better be a good week. This is my most exciting week. Hence, instead of just wearing a plain colour, I've got a very exciting t-shirt on today because I thought, well, you know, this is the fun bit. Well, at least to me, it's the fun bit. I hope it'll be fun for you. Now, before I go on, as I was getting ready this morning for this video, I realised I wanted to just very briefly mention how fantastic I have found the whole challenge process so far. This 7 days has been fantastic. I have run like small challenges in the past, but nothing quite as big as this one. And when I decided to do it, I actually decided to commit to it. You know, 14 days of doing something every day. It's a bit of a commitment. Now, I know you all talk about or think about creating positive habits, and we all, you know, it's often something that, especially if you already have some sort of small business yourself, or you're in business, you think about it. You know, how do I put positive habits into my life? Actually, you probably do that as a personal thing. Hello, Amanda. So I thought, well, I'll do this challenge and I will commit to show up for you guys every day. And so that's what I've done. And it's funny how things start to happen when you do that. So it's the same for you. You know, you've committed to play along. Thank you. It's awesome that you have. And I'm really humbled that you have all chosen to just come and play along with this challenge. And hopefully it will actually contribute to your business going forward. But I also realised that other things were happening for me this week. So, you know, I've been getting up every day, making sure I'm here on time. Hi, Frankie. And as a result, other things are happening in a positive way. I got a great job yesterday, a new client to do some social media for in a space that I'm really excited about, where I'm actually the target market. So that makes it really easy for me to help them with their social media and with a bit of coaching. So I thought, but isn't that funny? Like, you know, I'd been looking for new clients recently quite a bit, and then all of a sudden, just out of the blue, from a completely different sort of area, I wasn't expecting it, they just pop up. And it was because I was taking action, I was doing things. It wasn't that I was being passive and sitting around and waiting for it all to come to me. But it seemed that the commitment that I've made to all of you, so I'm thanking you, to turn up every day and, you know, to put my face on and to think about what I wanted to share with you in the morning for the start of the day, sort of put me perhaps in a frame of mind that helped me create all these other things that are happening as well at the moment for our business. So I just wanted to share that little story because I'm hoping that you showing up and committing to these things, it doesn't have to be to this challenge or whatever, but anything in your life, and to realise that will create awesome things to happen, and out of the blue, things that you weren't necessarily expecting, and from completely different areas as well. It's quite amazing how that happens. It's not necessarily directly what you're hoping for, or even in the same sort of box that you have been working in, but you'll get, you know, other positive and fantastic things coming from other angles. So that's my little life coaching bit for the beginning of the call. I did wanted to just say, well done. The blog posts I've read are fantastic. I will set some time aside today to read the rest of them that came in overnight. I saw there's a whole bunch more. Of course, we should all need to thank Frankie. She's been like a trooper going through reading everybody's and making some fantastic comments and some great ideas. So that's awesome. Thank you, Frankie. You're showing your editing abilities right there. Not to mention what a fantastic person you are to keep giving us such great and constructive feedback and really useful things you're sharing. So thank you. I appreciate that big time. Now, this week, it's exciting. Now, it's actually quite simple too, although you could make it complex and you could end up down a really big rabbit hole, like when you get sort of stuck with your writing. And I don't want that to happen to you. So do use the Facebook group, do use these times in the morning, do leave questions on the image that I will create today and put up on every evening to ask you questions and things for this call, because I don't want you to get stuck. Now, the whole purpose, and the actual purpose of this week is quite simple. It is to take that epic piece of content that you've all written and to create other pieces of content from it that we can put all over the place around the web that will point back to your website. It's as simple as that. You see it, it's being done all the time. You actually see it yourself by being consumer of it. So there are lots and lots of things out there on the web that you see in your Facebook, in your Twitter, in your Pinterest, in your Instagram feeds all the time where this is what's happening. I would like you to now start thinking about how to do that for yourself and for your own business. Now, what I've done already, I've put a couple of videos up in the resource area. One's just sort of an introduction, and we talk a little bit about Buffer. So one of the things I'd like you to do is go and open a Buffer account if you don't already, and they have a free account which will be fine for what we're doing. And the second one is we're digging back into Canva, because the first few things that I'm teaching you how to create for your repurposed content are basically image-based. So Canva needs to become your best friend. Luckily, it's easy to use and it can be your best friend. And the first few things that we can create, and I've got 3 different types of things in in Canva, image-based ones. But I've also created one of them, turned them into 2. So the first one is quotes. So when I'm saying quotes, what I'd like you to do is go into your blog post and grab out things that you think it would make them go, oh, you know, like a quote, something that's kind of unique. It's succinct for what you've written in the blog post, and it kind of, just go and grab a few of them. I'm sure there'll be more than one. Frankie was very good and grabbed a couple for me in what she wrote up about my blog post, so that's great. One of them I have actually already used as a quote, but the other one I hadn't even thought to, so that's great. So do that. The other thing with quotes is go and see if you can find, doesn't have to be famous quotes, but other quotes that are out there, popular quotes that also relate to sort of what your post is about, and use that. If it is from a famous person or from a person that you can attribute it to, make sure you put that in. Again, I've done that, but the start of my blog post sort of started with a quote from a philosopher, so that was kind of easy for me to do. But you can go and try and find other ones as well. And then, so that's easy. So what do? You grab an image that kind of relates to it in some way that'll make people go, oh, look at that. And then you just put the words over the top. That's simple, okay? So do that with the quotes, and then go and the next one we'll move on to is memes. Now, memes, they're a little bit like quotes. I often go, what is the difference? But memes tend to be sort of just funny statements, not necessarily quotes, if that makes sense. So I think in mine, the one that I've put up as an example, I've just got a child who looks like he's got ice cream all over his face or something. He's quite messy. And because my thing's all about entrepreneurial stuff, or mums who are entrepreneurs, my little meme is, because my mum is an entrepreneur, I can be as messy as I want. So, it's not a quote from my blog posts, but it is kind of, funny sort of things that other mums might think that they want to share. And that's the whole point with a lot of these images and the text that we put on there. Hello, Octavine and Emma. Welcome. We want people to get an emotional response, perhaps, whether it's to laugh, to not be, to maybe be a little bit sad, or to be a little bit motivated to then do something with this image and this statement that you've made. And that's what we do with the quotes as well, to a degree, but with the memes, that's sort of, we all see memes. We all have friends who that's all they ever put on Facebook. So it's not like we're not really aware of them. So do that. And then we've got infographics. So there is a part inside Canva which gives you some infographic templates. So going in there and thinking how you could turn what you have written into, I guess it's numbers based, but it doesn't have to be numbers. It's more like quantifying what you've said. And I think you probably could all do it with just a little bit of thought. It does, because it doesn't have to be the percentages of this and the percentages of that. It could be, something more along the lines of, I think mine, I actually found a Bureau of Statistic quote that said, what is it? Something like 3 out of every every third woman who has young children are self-employed, something like that. So as you'll see in the video, and I haven't finished it yet, I still got to work out how to represent that in an image that will make sense. And it might be, maybe I could do 4 women and highlight 3 or something, you know, something like that. Anyway, making a visual representation of what you're saying. That's basically what an infographic is. And it isn't necessarily all statistically related, which was the word I was looking for before. So give that a go. Now, when you've got these images, you can start sharing them to the different places if you want. I would suggest you do, because the more you do, the better. And always put a link back to your blog post in whatever you're sharing, so that the purpose of it is actually quite obvious. And also putting your logo or your URL, if you don't have a logo, somewhere on your image, so that wherever that image ends up, it also still points back to your website. That is a really good idea. What I do though, when I'm creating these for myself and for clients, I put them in like a folder so that they're ready to go. So it's like my marketing collateral. So I start thinking about it, and once you start, you'll find it's not as hard as you might initially think to create sort of cool images and fantastic little words and stuff over the top that people will be interested in sharing for you. So you just have to get started. When it comes to the images, there's a whole bunch of free images. I think I've already mentioned Canva provides some, so they also have paid ones. And I think I provided a bunch of free image websites. I'm just looking at the thing now. Yeah, so if you go up, I think it was on the 5th of October, the live call there's a whole bunch of links there. Some of them are free sites and some of them aren't, but you'll find there's some fantastic image sites there that you can go and grab some more images and then upload them into your Canva account as well. So do that, because that will help, because it is image based, and that's what we want to find, is a whole lot of images that you can use to repurpose the content you've created in your blog post and share it around the web. And I'll talk about sharing in a minute. So yes, you can go and share it, but I'll give you a little bit more information in a tick. Now, some of the other things that we're going to create, and you don't have to create every single piece of kind of content that I'm going to talk about. I assume all of you will have a go at the image ones, because they are easy, and you can create as many of them as you like. I mean, in fact, in many ways, the more the better, because you can use them going forward. If your content was evergreen, you could be putting out those images into your different social media feeds for months, years, whatever you like. And you can just keep repeating them. Like if one worked really well last month, we'll put it up again this month. I don't know. So yeah, you can create as many as you like, and they actually will become like an asset in your business. So that's another reason to store them in a folder where you can jump in anytime, whether you want to call it your XYZ marketing folder or whatever, however you sort your things out. But do that. All right. So some of the other things. Now, I don't want you to get freaked out and think, that means I can't do that and I'm not a techie person and da-da-da-da. Today, I'm going to create a couple more videos for you, which will just run you through the details of how I do some of this. We won't be completely tech focused, because I don't want you to get too hung up on all of that, because it's very easy to get hung up on it. If it's going to work for you, then do it. If it's not, then don't. If you're a bit brave, go have a play, because you never know. It might be something that you actually are quite good at. Okay. Now, the first thing is slides. Now, you might think, well, I've got all this text. How's that going to turn into slides? And of course, we come back to images again. So creating some images or grabbing some images. Yes, I know, Frankie, tech scares you. But you're actually quite good at it when you have a go, when you practice. And that's all it is, practicing. Anyway, so creating like a slideshow. So we all know what a slideshow is, like a presentation. I should say presentation. I might change that word. So like a presentation, like a PowerPoint presentation. And if you have a Mac, it's a Keynote. So creating one of those. And one of the reasons we create a presentation is that there's a website called SlideShare, and SlideShare comes up quite high depending on what you're looking for in a Google search as well. So it's actually quite a good place to go and put something or a few things. And I've seen some of my presentations in the past get clicks I put it up a year or two ago, and it still gets clicks and refers back to my website. So depending on what your blog is about, it could be a perfect place to be able to put some, put some content, which then goes back to you and your business and back to your blog post. So we'll talk a little bit about, in the video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to create slides, because there's lots of different ways, or presentations. So if you've got a PC, obviously PowerPoint, that's a pretty obvious go-to place to do it. For me, it's a keynote presentation because I've got a Macintosh. And then there's a couple of places online as well. So there's a website called Prezi, which you can do it there. And then I've got a couple of others. I'll put some links up for those. So it doesn't even necessarily matter what type of computer you have. Oh, that's right. Google has one. So there's Google Slides too, and that's a free online document thing that you can use to create presentations. So who knew? And they look pretty cool. I haven't actually used it, but I'll dig into it today and have a little look. Simon, my husband, he's used it and said it was great. So we'll have a look at that. Now, how do you take all of these blocks of text and put it into that? Well, creating the presentations is actually a little bit time consuming, in that you have to think a little bit about, okay, how am I going to break it up? What are the salient points? Do I make it into a slideshow that's, 10, 20 slides long? And what words necessarily? Because your slideshow, ultimately what we're going to do is take that slideshow and we can create a couple of extra pieces of content from it, which is another reason why I think the presentation / slideshow is a good option for you to think about, even though it might take a bit of time, because you get this, number one, you get this piece of content that you can go and put over into SlideShare, but it also means that you can create a PDF from it really quickly. So you just go export as a PDF. And so you've already got like pretty images, and if you've got words on the images, whatever. So that's one option. But you can also turn it into a movie. And if you turn it into a movie, you can go and put it into YouTube and Vimeo. So there are all these other cool things that you can do with it once you've created a slideshow. Now the slideshow itself could just be the salient points on images, a little bit like the quotes and the memes if you want, with just the nice text over the top of the images, which goes with music. It could be as simple as that. That's cool. Or you could talk over the top of it. So you could you could read out whatever it is that you think each slide has a salient point for, and it becomes like a recorded presentation, basically, with your voice saying whatever each slide refers to and why it's important that people whatever the slide's about. You understand what I'm saying. And that's really cool too. So there's a couple of different things that you can do with slides, turning them into video as well, or a PDF, and putting them over on websites like SlideShare, that will grow your audience. Now, I have a little secret weapon which I've used, which I'm aware of. It is a cost thing, although I think you might be able to get a free version for a little bit. You could go and have a play with it. And this is some people that I know created this technology. So you have a blog post. You put the URL of the blog post into this piece of online software. It goes and grabs all of the words, and then it basically chunks it all up into kind of obvious chunks. So it doesn't change any of the words. It just grabs the exact words and puts them into slides. So it must have a set number of words. I don't know whether it's 60, 100, 300, whatever it is. And it puts it into the presenter's notes, if anyone's actually played around with slideshows, creating slideshows. So it puts those in there. And then you can come along and put in images. So with our big, long blog post, it'll probably create, this is why I haven't actually gone in and done it, probably create, I don't know, maybe a couple of hundred of slides. A lot of slides, I would think. Anyway, so it goes and creates a whole bunch of slides, and then you get to put images on each slide, and you get to choose whether you put any text on there or if you just leave it as an image, which is sort of the editing. They've got a video there which shows you how it's done. And then you come along and you read on each slide and it records it. So it's actually a really quick way of using all of this big block of text, putting it in slides because it just chops it up, and you just drag images in and decide what you want it to look like. It could take a little bit longer after that, especially if you have 200 slides. You need to edit each slide with a particular image and whether you want to put text on it or not. And then you just read it, basically. And as you're reading it, it records it and that creates the site. So it's kind of cool. You could use it. I'll put the link up and you can have a look at it. I have used it in the past and it was kind of fun, but I think it was only a 300 or 400 word blog post that I put in there, and I think I still had 40 slides or something. I was like, whew. But it was fun and quite clever. So that's slideshows and a little bit about video and voiceovers and things. The other thing I would say is with the video, some of the voiceover sorts of things, or even the music or even the tech, as I talked to Frankie about quite a bit, is you could use websites like Fiverr. There are people out there who do this kind of thing for a living, and adding music or doing a voiceover for you on a video is something that they do every day, and they have all of the technology and the software to do that, so it's not difficult for them. So for a reasonable price, maybe $5, maybe 10, depends on what it is you need them to do. You could go to Fiverr and get some of that stuff done. So that's something to think about. Now, the other thing is video again, but this time I will create you a video on how to use the video that's possibly on your phone, but the ones I'll show you also have websites. And it's really video editing software, but it's a little bit different than doing the slideshow version we were just talking about, and I will go into it, and it's actually quite fun too. Some of it you can incorporate live like this, so we could be you and I talking, or I could be talking to the camera, and then we could go over to a slide on something. So again, it's about creating video. It's about turning this awesome blog post you've created and creating fun content with it. Probably the video and slideshow stuff is the thing that will scare the most people, and it will also take the most time. But I hope you'll still have a play with it, because it can be really fun. And if you've worked out a way that you can do it that you don't find too frightening, you'll be able to use it a lot going forward as well. And I'm not sure if you've heard, but YouTube is actually the second most searched search engine on the planet. It happens to also be owned by Google. So it is a place where you could get a lot of traffic. So creating video and putting it up on your YouTube channel is a very good idea. And will only, it helps to build this foundation, which is what the whole challenge is about. So think about that. Don't be too scared about doing video. So that's video. And then coming off that is audio. So obviously we've got images, we've got videos, and now we're talking about audio. So the audio, you can create audio without creating video. So you could just read your blog post. Okay, you could, if you decide to do the videos, you could strip the audio that you create for the video, if it's sort of, you talking or someone else talking for you. You could strip that off. Now, what do you do with the audio? Well, there are amazing things called podcasts, and I will also put up a couple of websites which make it easy for you to put up your audio. Well, easy-ish. Once you know what to do, it's not so tricky. But again, podcasts are an amazing way that people now consume content, because we're all running around with these smartphones and that kind of thing. A lot of us consume content via podcasts and audiobooks, that kind of thing. And that's how we actually get, because we're so busy, we're sitting, when we're commuting, for example, to work, a lot of people are, when they're doing exercise, when they're waiting for the kids after school, or whatever. A lot of time you'll find that people are actually consuming audio. For me, even cleaning the house or doing something, you'll find me with the headphones in, trying to, like, if I'm doing something mindless like vacuuming or something, I will put in my headphones and I'll be listening to a podcast or a book or something, an audio book that I wanted to consume. So turning your blog post into an audio is cool. And you can also post the audio actually onto your blog post as well. So then when people come along, you can give them different forms of modality to take in the content. And the same goes for your video. it doesn't just have to be posted over on YouTube. You can very easily embed it on your blog post, because people who come to read your blog, they actually might be the kind of people who prefer to watch a video, or they might be the kind of people who prefer to listen to something. So there's other reasons that you might want to turn your awesome piece of content into these other modalities, we'll call them. All right, so they're the kind of things I'm going to do some videos for you this week, or I'll try and get a lot of them done today, just to give you an overview of sort of how you can do it. So that's what we're expecting. Now, once you've got all this and you've put it over in a little folder in your computer, which is all about your marketing collateral, that has all these images in it and maybe a couple of videos and maybe a podcast, or, you know, an audio, I should say. What are you going to do with it all? Well, especially the images. This is why I wanted to do Open Buffer, and I've got quite a bit about Buffer in the introduction video for this particular week, because Buffer gives you the ability to go in and load it up. So you can go in and say, I want this image to go out on X date at X time, and here's the text I want to put with it, and here's a link back to it. So you can put all of that in, and then you can have it shared to your Facebook page, to your Twitter, to your Google Plus, to your, even to Instagram now, and Pinterest and LinkedIn. So you can shoot, I think for free you can share it to 5. So, and at all different times. So you have to go and have a look at it. I won't go through all the things that you can do with it, but you can go and load it up. So it's then a little marketing engine sitting in the background for you, sending out regularly, reminding your audience in your different social media platforms about you and about your content and about the latest thing you've done. Because so that's how we're thinking about sharing it. You've also, of course, with the video, we'll be putting things on YouTube, and Vimeo is another great place to use, because again, people go there to search for stuff. And SlideShare, which I've already talked about, and a couple of websites which you can go and put audio on. Another place that that audio can go, which will then link back to your website and share it. And where the magic happens is all around. Well, automating some of this is obviously going to make it very magic for you. So I'm going to do a little video to show you a little bit about how you could automate some of this, but also to start with coming up with a marketing calendar. So if we don't plan, then what we want to happen, it's not going to happen, because it just becomes like an accident. Or maybe you get lucky. But the reality is, like I said at the very beginning of this video today, if you're showing up all the time and you're actually doing things, you will find things start to happen. If you take that to the next level and actually create a marketing calendar, this is what you're going to do each day, this is what's going to happen each day, you actually now have a direction. So you're not just sort of floating around letting things happen to you, which, you know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's not predictable. And we all, to a degree, there are parts of our lives we like to be more predictable. Although we love spontaneity and all that, we still need to start thinking about planning. So to me, and what I'd like you to see, and I was like you to do, and I will create a video on this, is to create a marketing calendar. And in there, we'll actually be putting where these things are going to be shared. You might put out that you're going to do a funny meme, you're going to do a different kind of meme, a quote, an infographic, and that they'll go out here, here, and here, and then they'll be repeated because it's evergreen content. They're going to go there and there and there. And so you actually know what's happening. You can go and load your buffer based on what you've put in your calendar. And you actually make your marketing's not an accident. I suppose that's what I want to say. So all this awesome stuff that we're doing, by plugging it into the calendar, it's now going to be marketing with a purpose, if you like, because you actually, you know what you're doing and you know why. And every day when you think, what should I do today? You can log into the calendar and go, oh, that's right, this is already set up to go out, but I need to set it up for next week, or I need to or I need to write this, or I need to come up with some, what I call planned spontaneous content. That might be, on Wednesdays, I do something, a photo on what's going on outside. Or on Thursdays, I do a picture of my work desk every week and write a little funny comment about it or something. Or, yeah, anyways, so it's spontaneous, but you have already thought about what kind of spontaneous it might be. So it might be a joke or it might be something. So and that'll all go into the marketing calendar video. And I don't want to overwhelm you because all of this is a lot to take in at once. And then finally, to really freak you out, what I'd like you to do is think about opening a Bitly account. In fact, you probably should do that now, because when you open a Buffer account, one of the things you can set up there is a link to your Bitly account. Why do we want a Bitly account? So that we can actually see what's happening. So all this awesome stuff that you're doing, the Bitly account will provide, it provides Buffer with a unique link for each of the posts that you put up. And then you can look at Buffer actually provides statistics for you as well. But the Bitly account will give you even more statistics. You can log into your Bitly account and see what kind of reactions and happened with the different content that you created. So I don't want to frighten you, because I sometimes think when I say things like Google Analytics, people turn off straight away. If you don't have Google Analytics on your website, you really, really should. It's a very simple process to get it up there. If you actually need a tutorial on that, let me know. Especially if you're using WordPress website. I can do a quick tutorial and show you a very simple way to get it up there, which is basically setting up your Google Analytics, grabbing the special code, your unique code, and you can put it in just a plugin that you can put into your WordPress. And there are actually quite a few of them, but I can show you the one that we use. And then you're actually tracking. You actually know what's working. And ultimately, if you're doing any kind of business online, you need to know what's working and what's not. So I've probably just freaked you all out quite a bit, because we're going from creating video and audio to now we're suddenly talking about analytics and things that most people go, but in the big girls world, which is online business is actually working for you, some of this stuff you need to at least be aware of. You need to at least have set it up. And you need to at least be looking at it on a regular basis so that you can make informed decisions about what's working and what's not. And thankfully, because we're online, you can get that stuff very quickly. In fact, it's free. Once you've set it up, it's free. And you can make changes. So you can make changes quickly. It's not like being in a shop where you go, I think nobody likes the colour of my shop, so I'm going to go in and change the whole colour of the shop. Well, you have to close the shop down for a few days. You have to move all your inventory around. You've got to pay a painter to come in or spend days doing it yourself. And then you can reopen just to find that people don't like that colour either. Online, because the statistics are almost real time, and sometimes they are, you can make changes really quickly. So, yay. It's actually very exciting. See, I get a little bit excited about it. And I'm not a particularly techie person, but that being able to really see what's going on is awesome. So we've probably strayed a little bit away from what we're doing this week by me talking about that. And I see Frankie's put up a big comment. Yes, so the links on the images, yes, and slide share and excellent. So I think Frankie was saying that many people are writing in like an online journal sort of fashion rather than sort of, I guess, a how-to. I guess that's what you're sort of saying, Frankie, which is fine. And I think all of this stuff can still be turned into extra content that you can share around the web as a result, because, people love that journaling stuff, just like you said, which is cool. Hello, Gavin. So I've just scared the pants off you probably by going through Google Analytics a little bit and talking to you about trying to create video. Don't stress, right? Even if all you actually end up doing is creating images to reshare your content around the web, that's fine. But I would love it if you would spend at least some time this week doing something that makes you uncomfortable, doing one of these pieces of content that isn't your expertise, or that you've something that frightens you a little bit, because when you step out of your comfort zone just a little bit, cool things happen. So, and you might be surprised at just how easy it is. It's actually not as scary as you might imagine. Plus, you've got the support of all of us. So I will get these videos created. Now, what I want you to do each day is to go and create at least something, even if it's just an image, because, you know, that's what you feel comfortable doing. But in saying that, get uncomfortable at least once in the next 7 days. So go and create something. And then what I need you to do is put in each day when we do our reporting, I would just like you to put in what type of content you created. So if you created a meme, just put a meme. If you've created a meme and a presentation, put a meme presentation. If you created, I don't know, a PDF and audio, just put in PDF audio. So no, I don't want the numbers at the moment. I just want the types. Why don't I want the numbers? Because at the end of the week, so it'll actually be a little bit more than a week, but by next Monday week, we're going to add it up. So you're going to come in and you're going to tell me how many pieces of extra content, of repurposed content that you created. So, which is why I don't necessarily want you to put it down every day for the next 7 days, because we want the winner to be a surprise, okay? So I want you need to keep track of how many pieces you've created. So I want, at the end of the week, there is a form at the end of the resources page where you can log how many you created. And in there, I want you to type, and it does actually tell you. So you put in, you know, meme, 6 quotes, 4, whatever. So just go in and put in video, maybe 10. Probably not. Audio 2, maybe. I just want you to put them in there. I don't really need the links to all of them because that might get a little bit difficult to go through them all, because I trust you guys. Okay, so this is another reason I don't want you to put the numbers in, because at the end we want it all to be a bit of a surprise. We'll see who wins. So it'll be a bit like you show me first kind of competition. No. So this is how it'll run. So that's the competition. If you want to read about the prize, it's also in the resource center. Yeah, so that's the role of this week. Go out, create some extra content, get uncomfortable at least once by creating some content you've never done before. Please, I'd love that. And then at the end of the week, probably Sunday, wherever you are in the world, Sunday, if you can go down and put in on the resource page into how many you've created of each piece of content, that would be awesome. And then every day, don't forget to log what type of content you created today. Okay, and any questions, please let me know. If you've got any questions right now, feel free to put them into the chat and I'll see if I can answer them quickly. I hope I have gone on and on and on because this is stuff that I like and it's exciting. And I hope that you will find some enjoyment this week as well, even if it's just to tap into your creative spirit in relation to images and video, that kind of stuff. But if you don't have any questions, I will go and let you get on with your weekend. For those of you on the other side of the world, it's coming up to your weekend. And for those of you in Australia, it is already your weekend. Welcome to Saturday. So I hope that's helped. Thumbs up to everybody. You've been doing an amazing job. Yeah, let's spread it out. Let's make that epic piece of content turned into the start of something massive for your business, where you can be spreading your word around the web in lots of cool ways, in videos and audios and images. And yeah, we'll just make it explode like wildfire, right? All right, so I will go because I've got lots of videos to create for you. Which I'm looking forward to. Yeah, so go have some fun. Thank you for being here. I hope it's helped. See ya.